So nice to see you.
You too.
Looks like it's sunny there. I'm in Connecticut and it's very rainy and gloomy up here.
Ooh, let me show you the beautiful scenery and weather that we have.
Oh my God.
So
Where are you right now?
very
Is that
gorgeous.
Bruma?
This is actually hello, that's me. This is actually Casa Ocho. Our
Where? I'm
hotel,
sorry, where? Tell me where?
Casa Ocho, which is the hotel, the small hotel boutique that we have right here at Bruma.
Ah, right. That's on my bucket list. That place is just so gorgeous. I'm dying to visit one day.
It's beautiful, and it's right in the vineyards. I'm actually walking to the vineyards now.
Oh,
It's
awesome.
literally 10 steps from our Carignan, which we use for our Blanc de Noir. I think you tried it.
Uh-huh.
The Blanc de Noir, which is made with black Carignan.
Wow.
Let me show you here. We're just starting debudding and cleaning the plots.
Oh my gosh, so gorgeous.
Up there, you can see the winery.
Okay.
And in the right side the right hand side, and then left
Uh-huh.
hand side you have the villas where we're actually staying
Ugh,
during this
wow.
difficult period.
Yeah, it's crazy times. Okay, can we just start? I want to let you introduce yourself. Tell people your name, what your job is, and how you got in the wine game and what you do now.
Okay, so my name is Lulu Martinez Ojeda, and I'm the partner and winemaker here at Bruma. The vineyard here started in 2009, and I've been here as a consulting winemaker since 2016. I'm from Ensenada, but I studied winemaking in Bordeaux and worked at Chateaubriand Contenac for almost 10 years. And after that, in 2014, I came to Ensenada back home with a new project, Bodegas Henry Lurton. Henry Lurton is the owner of Chateaubriand Contenac. And we benefited there for 4 or 5 years, and now recently started with Bruma. So it's a funny story because I started out in Ensenada, and destiny brought me back to my hometown.
It's a lovely story, and what better person to show us around? I in the little bio I pinned down there, I just put winemaker in from the region because you're just to me the my favorite that I've met so far. You embody everything that I love about the region.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much.
And I got to say, the few days we spent down there was just so magical.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's gorgeous. So many people don't know Mexican wine, and I just love it, and I can't tell people enough about it. But can you tell us about the region in general, like where exactly you are, and what the regions are like, and what the wine culture is like in Baja?
Of course. So Baja California, we're a couple of half an hour from or an hour from San Diego, in Ensenada. In the region, we have several valleys. Here we're in Valle de Guadalupe, which is, I guess, the main valley. And just to give you an idea, 70% of the total production in Mexico is done here in Baja California. Then we have the Valley of San Vicente, Ojos Negros, San Vicente and Santo Tomas and La Grulla are down south. But basically, this is a fairly young region, wine producing region. When you talk with the oldest wineries here, or formal wineries, are from 1970s, but
Mm-hmm.
the Jesuits came here in late 1800s and started producing wine. So there's a big history and culture behind it, but commercially or as an industry, it's a quite young industry.
Yep.
What's fun about it and interesting, I guess, is like in many new regions, wine regions, there's no rules. There's a lot of experimenting going on, and that really makes us go forward quite quickly. For example, our Carignan Blanc de Noir. I don't think I've ever tasted another Blanc de Noir made out of Carignan. You have crazy
Yeah.
blends. Cabernet Sauvignon with Petit Syrah, or Nebbiolo with Tempranillo, or so. For me, studying or coming from a very kind of classical studies and way of making wine, being here and trying all of this crazy stuff is very exciting, and I think that's part of the enchantement or of the charm that Baja California has.
Did you just throw in some French there?
Yes, I did. When I can't find the word, I have a tendency to do that.
That's one time I speak a little French, and one time I went to Spain and I tried speaking French and it just didn't work. But yeah, that whole mixing up language.
Yeah, it goes back and forth. But and as you can see here at let me just show you there. Our soils are mainly very sandy, and basically what makes the difference is the amount of clay that we have in the subsoil. Of course, it's a very dry weather, but we have extreme, the temperature between night and day changes quite rapidly. We could lose 10 degrees Celsius in a day, sometimes 15 between day and night. So the most important thing about it, about how we manage our vines, is control irrigation and the amount of organic materia that we have in the vineyards.
And how does that soil express itself in the wine, unique to Valle, Guadelupe, and Baja in general?
So the more clay you have, the tighter the tannins are, and the more sandy soils that you have, more aromatic. So, for example, we have a Petit Syrah that it has quite a lot of sand. It's really in a sandy soil. And just the aromas are almost Cabernet Franc-like, very, very floral. Tannins are not as tight, but it makes it more elegant, more subtle. I particularly like the reds, the sandy reds that we have here at the Valle Guadalupe, but love the freshness of the clay that brings to our white wines in San Vicente Valley. San Vicente Valley has extremely clayish soils, and just the natural acidity and the freshness of it is wonderful. So I think that for me at least, I love the freshness of the soils in San Vicente for white varietals, as well as Santo Tomas and La Grulla, and kind of the strength of the reds here at the Valle Guadalupe.
I was really struck by how cool it got at night. Can you speak to why that is important?
So, especially aromatically in whites, that's very, very important, and in reds, with the tannins and the anthocyans, which are color and structure in mouth, being able to have that temperature variability in temperature, it just makes for better maturity, ripening, extraction of those tannins without being harsh. So it's subtle, but still very much velvety structure. If you don't have that temperature variation during day and night, then those tannins are difficult to extract. Color is difficult to extract, and we have a very long ripening period, which just makes sometimes complicated when the rain season comes to get the maturity and the ripening that you want.
I don't know. You're such a good educator. I always I like asking you questions. Is there something to do with the skins expanding and contracting in the heat and the cold? Is that at all true?
I didn't get the whole question.
I said, first of all, you're such a good teacher. I like listening to you. Is there any truth to the skins expand and contract when it's hot and cold?
It is, and again, it helps the expansion, and it helps the extraction without being obliged to do a harsh extraction in the cellar, which could, you could end up with bitter aromas, bitter taste. So it's very important to have kind of that natural extraction or natural movement in the vineyard as opposed to in the cellars.
Okay, cool. And I was very struck by when we were down there, you were talking about the fermentation intégrale, I believe. Are you doing that at Bruma?
Yes, we're starting with Petit Syrahs, Cabernets, and Syrahs. I love vinification intégrale because basically what happens is instead of fermenting in tanks, we ferment in barrels. We've noticed that sometimes when you have lower alcohol wines, alcohol is a solvent, so it extracts. If you have more alcohol, then you have more extraction of the barrel. And in hot weather regions like Baja, if you're not attentive with that and you have a Cabernet that's 15% alcohol or 14% alcohol, then you have a harsh extraction of the barrel. And it's a shame to put all of this hard work into the vineyard and choose the best terroir to hide it with oak, right? So
yeah.
Instead of putting wine into barrels, what we do is put must into barrels. So since there's absolutely no alcohol, it's just sugar, water, sugar, you don't extract as harshly or as intensely that oak. And as the alcoholic fermentation starts, you go from 0% alcohol to 0.3, 0.5. Very gradually, alcohol starts forming, and it gives the barrel time to get soaked up. And you don't have an extraction, but you have a much more subtle integration of the barrel. So it really respects the typicity and of the varietal and the terroir. So I firmly believe that in hot weather regions, vinification intégrale is the way to go when you have, aging and complex red wines.
And that must be fairly expensive to buy all new barrels all the time?
It is. It is expensive, and it is a lot of work because instead of having one big tank, you have 50 or 70 different barrels. So each small barrel is, a mind of its own. So you have to be very attentive on what happens, but you have more precision because instead of having one lot of Cabernet Sauvignon, you have 35. And since each and every different barrel is particular, it gives you more choices when you're blending. So you have much more complexity. So it is costly. It is complicated. But again, most of the great things in life are so.
Yeah. Well, it's having tasted your wine, it's definitely worth it. So thank you for spending that money. Can I ask, do the wineries all have their own bottling lines, or are there like bottling trucks that go around like in the Loire?
No, actually, we're still a very young industry, as I told you before, and most of the wineries produce less than 3,000 cases. So not all of us have bottling chains. There's still no truck. So if someone wants to open a good business, it would be a great idea to have a truck that could bottle, all of the small wineries' wine. Most of us go to neighbors. We're still very, very tight, very small, so we all kind of work together. So either we do it in the estate when you have a bottling chain, or go to our bigger neighbors that help out and have that facility.
So one of the things that struck me when Tom Bracamontes, who introduced me to this region, he spoke about the infrastructure that wine countries have, that they're used to getting barrels, they're used to getting bottles, all of those things happen, and that's still evolving where you are, right?
It is extremely difficult to choose what the type of bottle that you're going to work with, or cork, or foil, or barrels, or whatever, because we do depend on what goes into Napa or Temecula or California, because there's not a lot of people here or companies that know about the importance of Mexican wine production today. So what happens today, or what we try to do between producers, is gather up all of us and say, you know what, I need Burgundy bottles. Do you need some? Yes. Okay. So how many do you need? How many do I need? Let's call 10 or 15 wineries and make one big pedido order. Because if not, if I call France to order 3,000 bottles of Burgundy bottles for a rosé, they won't listen to. It's not even, we're tiny. So it's important for us today to kind of get together and work together. And I think eventually all of the companies are going to start noticing us and paying a little bit more attention to us and seeing that there's a very interesting business. I mean, when you see this beautiful terroir and this beautiful landscape, the amazing food that is being done here, you kind of know and are convinced that it could only mean the growth of this industry because it's so magical.
Yeah, I still remember that meal at Bruma that we had. The food that we had down there was so good. Every place we ate, whether it was simple or whether it was kind of not fancy, but like a little more evolved, like at Bruma. Can you talk about the cuisine of the area and how the wines work with the cuisine?
It's very, very important. I think gastronomy here in Ensenada and Valle, Guadelupe is part of who we are. Wine, food, seafood is very important. And actually our wines are inspired, or at least ours in Bruma are inspired on our gastronomy. David Castro, who is our chef here, when we work together, I kind of think of his plates when I'm doing the wines, and he thinks of the wines when he's doing his plates. Everyone here has a lot of respect for what our sea gives us, for the vegetables that we have. And I think that, today, Baja California is one of the capitals of gastronomy in the country. So they have pushed us, and there's this new generation of chefs and winemakers that work hand in hand, and I think it's one of our biggest assets that kind of experience. Because today, I mean, to be sincere, there's thousands or millions of beautiful wines in the world and beautiful wine regions, and I think you can have a good bottle of wine in tons of places. But what makes us unique is that interaction with the gastronomy, with the chef, with the sea, with our land, with the landscape, and that's what people are looking for today. I think, us wine geeks, we want a little bit more than just what's in the bottle. You want an experience, a moment, a memory, a souvenir, something that stays with you. And Baja is exactly what we give when people come here.
And on top of that, there's the enotourism. You guys are very advanced in the idea of enotourism. That it seems kind of critical that, like when we visited Bruma, there's a winery, but there's a restaurant and a hotel, and that seems to have been thought out very well across the region.
It has, but again, what I like about it is it's still very, very small, very authentic, very original. It's not large scale, huge kind of Club Med thing. No, I mean the hotel at Casa Ocho has 8 rooms, 2 suites. We have 2 villas. That's it.
Yeah.
Most of the hotels here are kind of like that. Maybe the biggest one has 20 rooms. I don't know. And it keeps kind of the authenticity of I hope it stays like that, because it's important kind of to keep that. Whenever you go to eat to Fauna or in Casa Ocho, you always find half of the valley. You'll always find a winemaker, an enologist, an owner, a chef, someone eating here, and it's important. I think there's not a lot of winemakers in the world, but you still have that where you actually see the people that are behind what's going on. So I hope it stays like that for a long while.
Yeah. So you're very close to Ensenada, and how do people come visit? Do they drive down and stay in Ensenada and hang out at the beach and then plan visits to the restaurants and the wineries, or do they rent a car and drive down? How does that work for visitors?
There's several kind of formulas. You hear me? There's a little wind.
It's okay. It's okay, but it's windy, but we can hear.
Okay. So there's a couple of formulas. If you come from the States, it's easier to fly to San Diego and then either rent a car and stay at the Valley or Ensenada, or there's a lot of concierge or people that make tours and know kind of the best ways to travel here. The chefs, the restaurants, the small taco shops. So I really love that because they have a sense of what's really typical. I would definitely recommend. I would definitely recommend working with a or staying with a concierge. But if you want something like more adventurous, you could just rent a car in San Diego and drive down south. There's a possibility of landing or flying to Tijuana too. But I think just it's easier to fly through San Diego probably.
And there are tours if you're staying in a hotel in Ensenada, right?
Yeah, of course. You have buses, rent vans, and they have a wine experience. And we take you to several wineries, restaurants. Wine production here is a big thing and a big part of the income of the city. So there's tons of options and companies that really dedicate themselves to the Ruta del Vino here.
And everybody's so kind down there. I gotta say, everybody was so lovely when we were there. So someone had asked with climate change, because it's already a hot climate, are you prepared for climate change or more at risk for climate change?
Our biggest risk is water. Fortunately, the last 2 years have been, we have had a lot of rainfall for the region. Here, personally, we just ordered, last year we ordered 21,000 plants of different varietals coming from France. And I did focus on late ripening varietals that have natural high levels of acidity. And that's our way of dealing with it. I think it's important we're still very young and there's no kind of iconic grape varietal here yet. But I do think we need to concentrate, maybe not on those Grenache, Carignan, Mourvèdre, or South of France varietals, which we thought and work beautifully. But when you're planting, you always plant for the next 40, 60, 70 years. And I think definitely we should concentrate on fresher varietals that can handle sun better and have natural freshness, so we don't lose the sense of complexity and aromatic complexity too. Because we do have, even I think that I don't know if you agree with me but internationally, even the alcohol percentage in wines, now we all want to drink 2 bottles instead of 1. So maybe 15-16% alcohol bottles are no longer.
Yeah.
For example, we have our Ocho Rosé here. It's 7.7% alcohol. Very low alcohol, super nice acidity. And I think the vineyard should be oriented towards that, and us winemakers and the sellers too. So definitely what we're doing here is praying for more water, using systems to recycle and treat the water that we use in the hotel, in the restaurant, and in the winery, and focusing on varietals that have a longer ripening cycle and more acidity.
And I'm looking forward to having some of that rosé when I get back to the city. We had it at my restaurant last summer. And I have to say, the Chenin Blanc that you made, the 2018 Chenin Blanc would be one of the bottles. If I grabbed 3 bottles in my cellar, that would be one of them. And that would probably be the second right there. And it's available with VOS in New York. But you guys sell, I know you sell to California, and I know you're in New York, but you're around the country, right?
Yeah, I think, Tom, now we're like in 21 states. So
wow.
At La Competencia Imports. So you can find it in a lot of places now in the States, fortunately.
That's fantastic. Someone else asked, so you came up in the very classic region of Bordeaux, and now you're kind of the other end of the spectrum of the cutting edge of new. I hate to say new because it's been making wine for a long, long time, but you're really on the cutting of a new region. Yeah. Can you speak of how that working in Bordeaux prepared you for that?
I think it couldn't have been better because Bordeaux and Margaux gave me the classical by the book vision of how we have to work. But I think what's most important about what Bordeaux teaches you is observation. There's no technique to do things. You have to learn the basis and observe. My previous boss in Chateau Blanc Cantonac, Christophe Capdeville, always told me, you know, with technology, with studies and going to university, sometimes we are pre-formatted and we don't think anymore or we don't observe anymore because we know it all, because we studied. And it's the other way around. Sometimes you do, of course, you need the basis, but you need a sense of observation. And I think that's what Bordeaux gave to me. We don't apply Bordeaux techniques here because we're not in Bordeaux. But
right.
It taught me to open your eyes, your taste buds, and kind of see what's going on in the vineyard and in your cellar. And I think it's the best way. It taught me to value freedom, but value something that's a guideline. So I think maybe sometimes, in my opinion, Bordeaux is a little bit too strict, and it stops you from innovating and kind of keeping pace with what's going on in the world. So it makes it a little bit complicated. And here in Mexico, sometimes the lack of guidelines makes you lose your head a little bit, and again, stops you from going or having precision. So I think that, a balance between both of them would be great.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the interview this morning with Marie-Hélène Dussèche at
Yes.
I think that was last year.
Last week, yeah.
And when you see that terroir, those gravels, so, I mean, the experience, the history that's behind that terroir, it's amazing. But sometimes with amazing, iconic things like that, it's difficult to move and change things around. And I think,
yeah.
Mexico has that for it, but still we do need a little bit of guidelines.
Yeah. One of the other things that struck me about Valle de Guadelupe is you see blends of Nebbiolo and Sangiovese, or all kind of crazy blends. You sort of touched on this at the beginning, but can you explain why we see those blends, and is that affecting what you do at Bruma?
So I think a lot, since we are a young industry, even though there's been winemaking going on for a long time, but as an industry, I mean, Mexicans, we have a tendency to not like rules or be used to breaking them. And just saying, a lot of the people that are making wine here didn't study this, and it came out really as a passion and something a dream. So they didn't know that, Bordeaux has to be like this or that, or Tuscany this or that. They just said, I love Sangiovese, I love Cabernet. Let's, put them together. You can't go wrong. So these lack of rules made this crazy blends, just happen. And since we don't have anything to prove, because when you say Mexican wine, nobody has a preconceived idea of that you can just try out whatever. Personally, I do come from a Margaux, and a Bordeaux education, so I still have problems dealing with it. I love a classic Sauvignon. I love a classic Chardonnay. When I think of Chardonnay, I think of Chablis. So I do work with a lot of mono varietals. I have two blends, which are crazy, but not that crazy. Then I have a Petit Syrah with a Cabernet Sauvignon, which is as far as I could go. But when I first got here, I only worked with mono varietals, and now I have a couple of them. So I think Mexico's kind of changing me too.
And you're able to control that a little going forward by, you just told me earlier, you're planting.
Yes, we're planting, and I am planting, or thinking of this planting again the vineyard to have mono varietals, because I do love that. So
yeah,
I bought quite a lot of Petit Syrah, which I definitely think is one of the best varietals for the region. Mexico is the second largest producer in the world of Petit Syrah. It adapts beautifully. It has strength, depth, nice freshness. good aromatic profile because it has spices, a little bit of fruit. It's more herbal, which I like, and floral. Cabernet Franc is beautiful. Cabernet Sauvignon, Viognier, Chenin, of course. Sauvignon, as long as it's from San Vicente, which I love. So there's definitely a couple of very interesting varietals that I think Sangiovese will adapt very, very nicely here.
Nice. I have to put you in touch with my friend Nico in Gaillac in Southwest France. He is planting this year some Petit Syrah, or maybe he just planted last year.
Cool.
So he's the biggest producer of Petit Syrah in France. So you guys have to get together.
Oh, I would love that because it's very
okay.
Petit Syrah is from France, and I think I read there's like 20 hectares in the whole country in France, which is like nothing, of course. And I think the first larger producer is the States, and more specifically California. So definitely, we would have to talk to Camilo Maroni, but Cheto has a lot of Petit Syrah, and I definitely think it came from California.
Okay. And I guess in southern France you call it Duras. That's what he struggled whether what to put on the label. We were chatting about that a lot. Let's see. Do any of your wines go to France? I have a friend in Roussillon asking.
No, unfortunately not.
Okay.
Not yet.
Wendy, next time you come here, I'll bring a bottle for you. I'll find you and get you some. Well, Lulu, you are just so fascinating to listen to. Can you come closer and let people get a good look at you? It's been a little bit blurry, so they can remember your face and look for you. There you go.
Not too close.
And so I do want to ask you, because it's kind of rural there for the most part. How is life under the corona with the quarantine and stuff? How is that affecting you guys down there?
Well, hotel and restaurant, you can imagine it's very tough because we've been closed for almost 2 months now. Wow. It's difficult for the region. It's difficult for the people, for everyone. In Mexico, we are very tight and solidario,
solidarity,
country. And I think what has been beautiful is that the people have been together, and our staff have been supporting us so much. Our partners have been too, but we're definitely scared of what's coming because we don't know, like you guys, we don't know how long this is gonna last. But I found that it's been, or at least I see it as a creator of new opportunities. We are selling a lot of wine with particulars, delivered to home. I see all of the staff kind of teaming up together, selling wine, giving new ideas. So I think financially, of course, it has been very, very tough, but we're all, kind of working together to, whenever this starts again, being more, stronger than ever. I really want to, there's a lot of colleagues that have been teaming up together. Just financing staff, or even giving food to the retenes. I don't know how you say retenes. To the government or the police that are kind of checking everyone out.
Oh yeah.
Comes into the valley. David is cooking, and Javier Plasencia, and all the chefs are cooking for the people that are protecting us. So I think you've been here. One of our biggest assets here in Mexico is that we all are very into solidarity and help each other out. So I think that's what's gonna help us through this crisis.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your time. It's been a real pleasure to see you and chat with you again. That's been the funnest part of this project, is seeing old friends. And thank you for showing us around. It's beautiful there. I was happy to get some sunshine on a gloomy day up here. Do you want to say anything on the way out, or just thank you again?
Thank you so much. Stay happy with wine and stay safe. And
excellent.
We'll be here to welcome you very soon, I hope, Chef.
And we're going to drink your rosé all summer long, and hopefully see you again soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Ciao.